Today, we bring you one of the most unique and historically significant pieces of silver I have seen in some time. I fell in love at first sight and had to have it. The big question I have is, do we consider this a coin or a round? It is minted by a recognized sovereign nation by the US and Canada and has a denomination of one money. Generic, I know. In my eyes, this is a coin that, though we do not have a traditional dollar or native denomination, the Lenape of the Delaware tribe who put out this coin often barter, and this could be a unit of commerce for their community. Coin around, I guess, technically matters not. What matters is what I'm about to tell you, which is why this coin around needs to be considered by you for your collection. We cannot accurately do that unless we have the significance of culture, people, and history, which I now bring you. If you happen to watch this video as a Lenape, I hope I have done you a service in my accuracy, and I hope that the words I speak bring you pride. I would love to talk with you about this coin and what it means to you and your people. But now, we begin our story. Once nestled along the banks of the Delaware River and now found in Oklahoma and Canada, the Delaware Nation, also known as the Lenape, exhibited a rich history that stretches back thousands of years. The story of the Delaware people is one of resilience, cultural richness, and survival through centuries of change, from their ancestral lands to the modern-day challenges they face. Today, we dive into the history, culture, and symbols that define the Delaware Nation as people who have shaped the history of what is now the United States and remain a vital part of America's indigenous heritage. The Lenape means the people. They originally inhabited a vast territory that stretched from present-day New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and parts of New York, as well as Connecticut. Their lands were blessed with abundant resources, rich forests, and game. The rivers were teeming with fish, and the fertile soil was perfect for agriculture. They lived in small, organized communities known as bands or clans, with each having its own leadership and traditions. There are three main clans symbolized by the turkey, wolf, and turtle, which we see here today. Their society was matrilineal in order, meaning that the family lineage and inheritance were passed through the mother's side, a testament to the important role women played in their culture. The chief of a tribe or clan would tend to hunting, trade relations, and conflict. The women would then handle much of the farming and stewardship of resources, while the men would venture to procure things like meat through hunting and fishing. Before European settlers arrived, the Lenape lived harmoniously with nature, growing crops like corn, beans, and squash, collectively known as the Three Sisters. They were also skilled hunters, fishers, and gatherers. In fact, the Lenape were considered the grandfathers, as though they were skilled in fighting, they often were the brokers of peace. But with the arrival of Dutch and later English in the early 1600s, the Lenape way of life forever changed. The Delaware, as they were named by the English, became embroiled in conflicts over land and resources, as well as the devastating effects of disease brought by Europeans. Despite this, the Lenape nation held fast to their traditions and way of life. In the 17th and 18th centuries, the Lenape signed multiple treaties with English and later the Americans, including the first treaty as America. Unfortunately, these agreements were often violated, leading to forced displacement and loss of ancestral lands. By the early 1830s, the Lenape people had been removed from their homelands due to legislation like the Indian Removal Act of 1830 and relocated westward to reservations in places like Oklahoma and parts of Kansas and modern-day Canada. Today, the Delaware Nation is federally recognized as a tribe with their headquarters located in Anadarko, Oklahoma. Despite the many hardships they've faced, the Delaware continue to honor their ancestors through the preservation of their culture, language, and traditions. One of the most distinct aspects of Delaware culture is in their spirituality and connection to their land. For the Lenape, the world is a living entity, and everything within it has a spirit. Their ceremonies and rituals honor these spirits with respect and reverence shown in every aspect of life. The Delaware were known for their symbolic storytelling, using oral traditions to pass down wisdom and history. Their iconic wampum belts, crafted from shell beads, served not only as art but also a form of record keeping, telling stories of their people's histories, laws, and agreements. The Delaware people also played a crucial role in the early history of the United States, particularly through their involvement with the fur trade and their early relationship with the colonists. Delaware formed a strategic alliance with the English, which would later come to define much of the early colonial history. The symbols of the Delaware Nation speak to their connection with the earth and the animals that inhabit it. One of the most sacred symbols of the Lenape is the turtle, a powerful representation of strength, longevity, and resilience. The Lenape flag, with its red, white, and blue, incorporates elements of their traditional symbols and reflects the journey through history, one that is both marked by struggle and perseverance. Even today, the Delaware Nation celebrates their heritage through festivals, powwows, and gatherings where their youth are taught the ancient traditions of the ancestors. They continue to honor the land and spirits and their elders, ensuring that the cultural legacy will continue for future generations. From the early days of their civilization to their displacement and return to resilience, the Delaware people have never been defined solely by adversity. Instead, they are a testament to the power of cultural perseverance and enduring spirit, and the strength of a people who continue to shake the world today. As you can see, the Lenape or Delaware natives have a history intertwined with this amazing land. Some shades are bright while others are dark. The contrast provides a rich story which makes a beautiful tapestry worthy, in my opinion, of our respect. Now that you know a little bit about these people, let's talk about this round or coin as we place it on our 60-point scale. When we look at the obverse or front of the coin, we see a ta'akox, or turtle, surrounded by a tribal design on the border. Designed by Oklahoma Choctaw native artist named D.G. Smalling, it is an amazing looking obverse. Just an immaculate turtle, which by my eyes looks like a tortoise or terrapin. We have native designs in the concentric circles, which I can only assume are correct. I'm no expert on native patterns, but I do know the Lenape were skilled at ribbon work and shell and bead. I love everything about this obverse and feel that I have a piece of native pride. I scored a 9. Simply love it. We now move to the reverse, where we see the Delaware Nation and one money, as well as the purity. On this side, we see a more symbolic representation of the turtle, which is one of the 3 clans, as mentioned before, but is also a strong symbol, as we talked about earlier. The imagery can be seen in many of the decorations of the Lenape people. I love how we carry over the first of the tribal prints, and I love that we have a turtle on both sides. One is the natural turtle, and one is a symbolic one. Really well done, and I scored a 9. Mintage is next. Due to the unique nature of this coin or round, I cannot seem to find a firm number for mintage. My gut tells me it's probably going to be 100,000 or less, but I have to rely on the facts I have on hand. Thus being said, I must score it a neutral 5 until I know of a cap. Now for the cultural significance. If you've watched the video up to this point, you know without a doubt this is a perfect 10. There is no representation I could think of to improve this imagery. Collectability is next. This is a piece that I find highly collectible for historians, native peoples, nature lovers, and really most all collectors. Maybe not stackers, but collectors. It is also beautiful and interesting, which leads it to such a rewarding piece to hold. It has a low premium, but does not hold the provenance of a kookaburra. I therefore render it an amazing relic and a 9 out of 10. Our last area to look is uniqueness. Native American bullion is rare on its own right. This is no exception. I have never seen another bullion coin from the Delaware Nation, and I'm glad that I have this one. It is beyond unique, and the fact that it has a turtle on it, let alone all the amazing features we have noted up to this point. I scored a 10, bringing us to our final thoughts and score. This Delaware or Lenape Nation coin/round, whichever it is, carries its pride across the line at an elite 52 out of 60, making this, yes, an elite coin. And if we consider that it very well might have a lower mintage than 100,000, it could actually have a true number of, let's say, 55, making it one of the highest scoring we've ever had. So is it right for you? Well, if you are not compelled by anything I've stated, well, probably not. If you love history, Native American culture, nature, any of the other fantastic topics we covered, then yes, go and get yours today. Thank you so much for joining us today, and until next time, please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.